Welcome to the Lovecars on the Grid podcast, your global motorsport roundup with me, Tiff Needell, and Paul Woodman.
Welcome to Lovecars on the Grid, your global motorsport podcast roundup. You join us in America. We're at our friend's garage. It's called the Triple F Collection. Got a lovely little Ferrari behind us, actually. We're having a good time in America, filming some amazing stuff for the new TV show. But Motorsport Podcast, here we come. We're going to start off with a couple of anniversaries. One quite tragic, sad one. Ayrton Senna died yesterday actually, 1984. Where's that time gone?
Yeah, never forgotten the loss of Ayrton, one of the true greats of our sport.
But I think also the same weekend we have to mention...
Well, yes, there is another anniversary. Actually, today, a young driver called Tiff Needell qualified for the Belgian Grand Prix in 1980 in his Ensign.
What position did you qualify?
23rd.
So there are 23 cars on the grid?
No, it was 24 cars. And 24th was none other than the great world champion Emerson Fittipaldi. So I shared the back row of the grid with Emerson Fittipaldi. That's good enough for me.
That's very, very good.
We both retired.
And you can't compare against there was no other driver in your team.
Just a single car, which was very worrying because you had no one to rate you against. So, the team boss was just saying, there must be a quicker driver than Tiff somewhere.
I'm sure there was.
He then got Jan Lammers in because Jan Lammers had qualified fourth for the Long Beach Grand Prix, the previous race. So Jan Lammers was the big name. He was like the new Max Verstappen of Holland. He then failed to qualify the Ensign for about the next 5 races. So it wasn't a very good car.
So you were quicker than him?
Relatively better results, yes.
And for those of you that join us regularly, either listening on a podcast or watching on YouTube, please don't adjust your volume because we're actually doing look at this, we've got proper equipment.
No more complaining about my sound, you lot. Keep on moaning when I'm...
Until next week. So we've got a busy week this week. No, the only World Championship event was the Moto GP at Jerez.
Yeah.
So let's kick off with that.
Yeah.
So
Jerez, one of the best bike racing tracks. It was got that final left-handed hairpin where there's diving overtakes. It didn't disappoint. Huge crowds at Jerez. But it's great Moto GP because it was the turn of Francesco Bagnaia. Ducati are back. And this year, it's been so many different winners. It's a really open season. But Fabio Quartararo, the reigning champion of the Yamaha, chased Bagnaia the whole way.
It was so close, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, the two of them. He never actually overtook the whole race. It was just the 1-2, 1-2. But they pulled a big gap on the wild. There's a wild pack for third, apparently. I haven't seen too much of this racing this weekend because we've been filming in America. But it was great to see Marc Marquez was in this huge battle for third. I think he had third for about half a metre before the bike nearly dropped the front and pulled it back up again. So Alex Espargaro came through in third in the Aprilia. But apparently great entertaining racing. Moto 2, the Brits, where we got a couple of British riders, they didn't have a good weekend at all. Sam Lowe's qualified third and Jake Dixon at the disappointing 11th because Jake's been almost having a podium twice. Probably could have won at Portimao before he dropped it. They both crashed out. The other thing about Moto 2, we followed the Moto 3 superstar kid all of last year. We were so amazed by Pedro Acosta that was going to be the next Valentino Rossi. But he's not making it work in Moto 2.
Funny, you would have thought he would have just been like... it seems a bit like a fish out of water. But
he qualified 10th and ended up 20th. I don't know what happened to him. He fell back to 20th.
He had a good weekend the previous weekend, so he's got it. He's obviously got it there.
But not the sensation in Moto 2 that he was in Moto 3. Moto 3, though, again, we've only had not very British riders because... Scott's guy's not back yet, but Scott Ogden, this little English kid that's sponsored by this Vision track, who's been really coming up the grids his first year of World Championship race. He qualified 12th and finished about 12th. But he was the first Honda. At the moment, Hondas aren't doing well in motors. Unfortunately, even in bikes, the brand is important. KTMs seems to be the hot bike to have this year. But he beat a couple of former race winners, also on Hondas. So he did a good weekend. So Scott Ogden, we're following you, Scott, and we know that when you get to a Honda track, you could well be on the podium. So great news. But
so plenty of action with bikes on two wheels.
Moto 3, I think the last corner, the guy that won it went round the outside of the last lap. Plenty of action. It's just a great racing circuit for bikes.
And what about still across the peninsula?
The Iberian Peninsula, we moved to...
Spain, DTM.
Back to Portimao.
Yeah.
which is, again, a fabulous track with a DTM.
You
apparently.
drove one of those around Portimao with Chris Harris, the LaFerrari power sliding
Happy
around.
memories of that. Happy memories. There were wins for both Audi and Mercedes in the DTM. But the interesting story from the DTM was that Sebastian Loeb was having a go in a Ferrari. And it sort of opens this debate about rally drivers, racing drivers. You know, 'cause Sebastian Loeb's won everything this year. He didn't win everything, but Paris-Dakar, Monte Carlo.
One of the greatest ever.
He's up the front, but he's struggled to a 16th and an 18th. So there you
But
go.
Tiff, you're not
You
going to
can't-
jump into a car.
People think they can. The rally fans think a rally driver can get a car, and the Formula One fans think a Formula One driver can jump into a rally car. They can't. It's just having knowledge and having experience makes the years of experience put you to the top of a different discipline. Now, Esme Hawkey's got another season out there racing the DTM in her Lamborghini.
How does she do?
Yeah, not too good, 21st to the 23rd. But at least Esme's out there waving the flag. He's only a British driver in the grid, I think. So DTM are obviously a very...
So has Esme, now that she's been given this another season, has she got the ability to get top 10 or podium? Or
Possibly. I don't think the Lamborghini is the most popular car in that series. I'm not sure how the other Lamborghinis did, but...
how did she get on against her teammate? Any ideas?
I think she's a single car entry.
Okay.
Again. So get in there, Esme. Get in the top
get-
10.
Yes, we want a top 10. We want a podium. Podium for Esme. Where are we go next? Have we done it?
Monte Carlo. We stay in Europe still as we're cruising Europe. We're moving a bit east now from the peninsula. Because, of course, there's 3 Monaco Grand Prix this month because it's the historic in 2 weeks' time. And then 2 weeks after that, it's the Formula One cars. So it's the Formula E's around there, which is one of their better tracks. It's on a proper racing circuit. I haven't seen it, so I've only read the reports. But Mitch Evans was on. But Mitch Evans is with a star for Jaguar. But it's funny in Formula E because it's all about the computer strategy of keeping your
That's
energy.
what I don't like.
No.
I don't like it.
So this time, Evans was dropping back earlier on because he couldn't run at the same pace on his planned energy strategy.
Racing, you want to go
I
balls
know,
out.
I
You
know,
want to
that's
go
its problem,
full
that's
throttle.
its
That's what it's
problem.
all about.
In fact, Pascal Wehrlein looked like he was going to dominate in the Porsche, but that suddenly stopped. It switched itself off and had to have a yellow flag because it was stopped in the tunnel. And in fact, it was Stoffel Van Dorn that came through to win in the end. Mitch Evans recovered to second because of a couple of other retirements. Stoffel hasn't won for about a year. So Mercedes won in Monaco. Stoffel won. Mitch Evans got second. Who else have I got? Oliver Rowland, the leading British driver, was battling for 5th and had a controversial clash with Andre Lotterer. He's got into trouble for the next race. A little big up. The best Brit was Jake Dennis back in 9th. Alexander Sims 11th. Dan Tickton, he had a 12th. He was quick in the qualifying, the testing, but his Neo car isn't one of the best. So Dan's doing a good job and he hasn't caused any controversy yet. Sam Bird continued his awful season, really, compared with his teammate doing so well. He only qualified 13th and retired after a bit of damage. So there's plenty of drama down in Monaco.
But was there excitement? We don't.
And I wasn't there.
We want
I wasn't
excitement.
there. I know.
What did they say on the reports? Because I didn't see it either.
Well, they said it was exciting. Because the thing about all the Formula, I think reporters are always following one Formula around the world nowadays, and so the promoters will probably give them a nice hotel room or something. They always tend to be very enthusiastic about their own Formula. So I'm sure the Formula E correspondents around the world saying it was a wonderful, exciting, brilliant race.
Yeah, but in the UK on the BBC we've got Andrew Benson, for example, of Formula One. I don't think he says it's
I think in
exciting as
Formula
not.
One you've got the more
Yeah,
experienced journalists that can say something controversial
And get away with
and
it a
get
little
away
bit.
with
Yeah,
it.
exactly. So let's go back, let's go over to the UK, because it was quite exciting. Brands Hatch, of course, there's Valentino Rossi, the dog
biggest
in
crowd,
four wheels.
biggest crowd for years at Brands Hatch for the GT racing, which is this Fanatec GT World Challenge, very complicated title. And Valentino Rossi was racing this Audi, so there was a huge turnout apparently. It was a brilliant day. The first race were about 4 cars off at Paddock Hill Bend on lap 1, so plenty of drama. We always like finding out where the drama was. Of course, it's a 2-driver, these sprint races. I had 2 races at the weekend. Rossi shares with Frederick Versace.
I wish he was in a Ferrari. I
know,
really
why-
do
I know.
wish he was in a Ferrari.
Valentino, why don't you get he was racing a Ferrari. When he did his GT racing before, he was in a Ferrari. But obviously the deal was with Audi. They had a 13th and an 8th, the two of them combining together.
And Brands Hatch is such a fantastic place to watch. Of course, they do the full circuit, the Grand Prix circuit, but still,
Weather
you can
was
see,
lovely,
You can see
sunny
so many corners and straights from the main grandstand.
We had the
Brilliant place.
wins for Ferrari. Ferrari won the first race. Mercedes the second. Apparently the second race was epic. Raffaele Marciello, who was going to be a Grand Prix. I thought he was stunning in Formula 3, but then didn't quite get into the room. He had a bad season of Formula 2. It's terrible these youngsters, if they ever get the wrong team for 1 year, when
Yeah.
they, and
That's
then
it.
anyway,
You need a bit of luck.
Amazing.
In
Had an
life,
epic
I think,
drive.
certainly in racing.
Yeah.
Ollie Webb was there. He got on the podium, doing some historic stuff. Jeff Newman from Caterham, he was there. Must have been amazing racing the same weekend as Rossi, but all good stuff. Alton Park in the UK as well.
Yeah, the other good thing, the other big event in Britain at the weekend was the British Superbikes, which is still going on as we're recording it, because I haven't got the result of the third race. But it's a fantastic
because it's
story,
bank holiday weekend in the UK. Yeah.
Bradley Ray, he's been in the dumps for about 2 or 3 years. He was a real bright new star when he came on the scene and was right up the front, but he changed to different manufacturers' bikes, and I can't remember which. But he won both races on Saturday and Sunday, or Sunday only. So great big up for Bradley Ray, who hoped maybe he'll make it a hat-trick. As we're sitting here, he could be out in the lead for the third race.
Maybe Joe or somebody will tell us. He'll keep an eye on the scores. Our correspondent Joe Priday, Lucky Supercars.
But I mean, even if the racing's not just watching bikes around Alton Park, I mean, they are epic. The Deers Leap, the Hollows, and the bikes. I mean,
is it a brilliant circuit? I ask you that all the time about Alton Park because I've never been there. Is it really exciting? Is it?
It's a great track.
Yeah,
really good, and barriers very close. Proper old school road course.
So speaking of great tracks, let's go to IndyCar. This isn't such a great track, is it? Alabama?
No,
is it?
Birmingham, Alabama.
Is it?
Beautiful. So it's got dips, ups and downs and crests. Again, just grass at the edge of the roads, hardly any gravel traps except where there's a big overtaking point where a couple ended up this weekend. Yeah, beautiful scenic circuit. And apparently it was a great race. Again, I look forward to watching the highlights myself, but it was... Apparently there were two halves, and IndyCar is still strategy, massive strategy. And there was the teams going for a two-stopper and those going for a three-stopper. Because the two-stopper, you have to do a lot of fuel saving, so you're backing up, and the three-stoppers are catching up with their fresh fuel and running full boost. And apparently it was a really epic race, but the Dutch kid, Rinus VK, who turned up last year, he was on pole position, he was leading, but he had a slow outlap, because they come out on cold tyres. This is what was Formula One. The point is, a modern Formula One car, you couldn't come out on the tyre that's cold because they're not designed to be able to do that. So they have to heat them up so they can... But the IndyCar tyres, they're manufactured to come out and be reasonably grippy. They're not useless. But still, a lot of skill in the drivers, the skill of that outlap on your cold tyres. And VK was a bit conservative. Pato O'Ward jumped him, got into the lead, which he would hold on to the end, but under great pressure from Alex Palou. Palou, again, doing the in-lap, he did a really quick in-lap. He also then got out ahead of VK.
But doesn't that just make it strategy more than... Because they're all...
the driver. The driver's got to do the in-lap, and the out-lap becomes the crucial things. Because overtaking is quite hard at Alabama. It's not the easiest track to overtake. There's one corner where there's controversy. Romain Grosjean is in a bit of trouble with the Rahal team because... it was Graham Rahal was on the two-stop strategy, so he was backing up a bit because he didn't have enough fuel. Roman was a bit keen to get past him. There was a bit of wheel banging and side pod banging, and Bobby Rahal's not too happy with the French. I could say French or Swiss. It's for Swiss, isn't it, Roman?
Romain Grosjean, yeah.
Yeah, of course he is. Anyway, Brit's not so good. Jack Harvey, 18th. He hasn't really got going. He's with the Rahal team. But Callum Eilert, who we thought was Formula 2 star, he actually qualified
Ferrari
ninth.
boy.
His best qualified. He's in a single car team, not one of the top teams. But I don't know what happened in the race, but he was 25th at the end.
Okay. And we're so close to Indianapolis as we are now.
Yep.
We're in Ohio, so it's a couple of hundred miles.
I want to go there.
He wants to see the museum, but we haven't got time. I've got to work him
I want
quite
to go to
hard.
Indianapolis. I want to go to Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Also in America, across the West Coast.
Well, we got to say that Pato O'Ward won.
I did, didn't I?
Oh, did you? I don't know.
That.
But he did.
Of course, it's interesting because Pato is the other... Always talk about an American or an IndyCar star going into Formula One. Because Pato is an American.
He's Mexican.
Which is a bit of a handicap because obviously the money is going to be... Colton Herta, I'm not sure he finished, but he qualified about third. He's the other sort of American to go to IndyCar. But of course, Pato's with the McLaren team. He's tested the McLaren Formula One car.
Maybe next season you'll have Ricciardo out. I don't know. Yeah. Ricciardo, whatever. Also in the US of A, NASCAR.
No, but first Laguna Seca.
Oh, okay, Laguna Seca.
Sports cars.
Do you know, why are we not watching any of this live? Last night,
you're working me to death. I would have been watching it.
We went to a golf driving range last night. We should have been watching the races. A few beers.
You've lost. If that was in England, we would be watching in the evening. You're not thinking, are you? The races were during the day. when we were filming some of these wonderful cars that I've been driving.
It's not hard to muddle my little tiny brain, I can tell you that much.
And just a quick story from the West Coast, that magnificent Laguna Seca circuit, sports cars, GTs, again, just epic to watch as a spectator. It turned out to be a 1-2 for the Acura team. Ricky Taylor and Philippe Albuquerque, the Portuguese driver racing over here, were first, ahead of our British pair, the all-British pair of
Is
Oliver
his name
Jarvis.
Albuquerque? Is in the New Mexico, Albuquerque.
Well, maybe I didn't pronounce it quite right. Jarvis and Tom Blomqvist, so good up for the Brits in second place at Laguna. NASCAR, that we like to cover because I do like to watch NASCAR. It rained in Dover. But they're also probably racing now because they're restarting at midday. Is it midday yet? Where are we? What country am I
I don't
in?
know what. It's
nearly coming up.
No, it's 20 to 11 Central Time.
They've got to restart now.
Okay. So we don't know what happened in NASCAR.
Well, they're still racing. No.
Okay, well, I can tell you.
It rained
I can tell you some breaking news. I'm just hearing it on my earpiece. That, in other news, Audi and Porsche have just agreed to enter Formula One.
Hot off the
Hot
press.
off the press.
Hot
Literally
off the
announced by our runner, Joe Lucky Supercars, upstairs. He's also going to find out. What else are we going to get Joe
The
to
thing
find out?
about that-
The result in...
British Superbikes,
British
Alton
Superbikes.
Park. Has it finished?
Yeah.
Is the third race been run yet? It's been coming. We all knew it was coming. I mean, I think it's a pretty open secret. They were looking at it and now so. But the disappointing thing, when I first read the highlight, we're going to have 24 cars.
Exactly.
We have 2 more cars, 2 Audis, 2 Porsches. But no.
I wish that would happen.
So
'Cause
Porsche
it's
is
got
going
the
to be
room
Porsche.
for
They're
it.
going to rebadge the Red Bull engine. So it'll be a Porsche. Red Bull seems to be a hot favourite. They're not saying about Audi, but most people think it's going to be Sauber, Swiss team down in the German area. So they're thinking they'll take over Sauber, which is what's Sauber? Sauber's Alfa Romeo.
Yeah.
So Alfa Romeo maybe disappear. So we won't get any extra cars. We'll just get 2 new names. So it's not that exciting to me. I want more cars.
Yeah, what a shame. And also, we started off saying tribute to the late Ayrton Senna because it was yesterday, the anniversary. But everybody, including us, misses what else happened that weekend. Another tragic loss.
Yeah, Roland must not be forgotten. Roland Ratzenberg, of course, it was killed on the Saturday, the qualifying days. So
That's been annoying me from the very beginning when I said about Senna. We didn't mention him as well. So,
Yeah, quite.
yes, exactly. That was more important than saying about your
It was
start
much more important.
at the Belgian Grand Prix in
Because I raced a lot
1980.
with Roland.
On this
I knew
very
very
day.
well. I
Did
raced
you?
in sports cars, Le Mans sports cars. So they're terrible.
Oh, wow. Next week.
Well, this weekend, of course, big.
yeah,
We're in
this
America. Can we stay?
I wish we could.
Another week's filming somewhere.
We don't have the budget for
The
this.
Miami
Not next
Grand
week.
Prix. I'm really all ready to say the drivers are loving the simulators. They think it's going to be a great... I agreed. I said this a few weeks ago when I saw the plan of the track. Looks like there might be 2, maybe even 3 overtaking opportunities per lap. And that's what it needs. That Imola track, when you'll wait for the twiddly bits, then one straight. Will they overtake? Haven't overtaken. We've got to wait all the way through twiddly bits to start again. So hopefully there will be overtaking at more than one place.
And there's a lot of razzmatazz, a lot of excitement. These guys from Triple F, they're going down with McLaren.
down
They got
McLaren.
the little Lando Norris helmet
Yeah,
here.
the Lando fans.
They got a few McLarens dotted around, to say the least.
a lot of
There's
excitement.
a lot of excitement. Also,
More
WEC.
traditionally, traditionally, you've got to go off to Spa, hop in, you can drive over to Spa. Again, it's still a bit quiet. This is only the 2 Toyotas and 1 Alpine. And I don't know whether Glickenhaus is going to be there or not. I'm not sure if Glickenhaus is going to join them. And then mainly the LMP2 cars and GT racing. But I mean, Spa, wonderful track to see them going around. If you don't want to leave Britain, you can go to Silverstone for the British GT Championship. It's always entertaining. I mean, they've got about 15 GT3s and 15 GT4s now, so it's amazing.
They look good, don't they,
Yeah.
going around?
Otherwise, internationally, just NASCAR, darling. There's always a NASCAR race.
How are we looking, Lucky Supercars?
Can we, anything hot off the press? Did
Hot.
Bradley Ray making a hat-trick?
In World Superbikes?
We don't know.
We don't know.
We're going to have to say goodbye.
And-
what are we going to drive today? A Senna? Let's just go and drive the Senna.
Okay, well, in tribute to Ayrton Senna, let's go
Yeah.
drive the McLaren Senna.
They've got one here.
I wish we could
And
play.
we can drive it.
I wish we could
They
play
say we can drive
Hot
it.
Dog, Jumping Frog, Philippi Albuquerque. That's not how you pronounce his name. It's not Albuquerque. How do you pronounce his name?
I haven't written the full spelling, so I can't
It's
remember.
not Albuquerque.
He was a Formula One driver.
Was he?
Albuquerque.
Albuquerque, not Albuquerque. Bradley Ray, hat trick in British
Did he win
Superbikes.
the third one?
Congratulations, Bradley Ray. See you next week.
If our researcher's got it right, he doesn't always.
And see you next week. It won't be so grand as this. Next week, you'll be adjusting your volume every 2 seconds back home. But this has been fun. Cheers.
Cheers.